Hey guys, Kuoku here. Welcome to my Sparkle Kit and Light Cone review. Hoyoverse has revealed her kit just a few days ago, so I wanted to come on here and give you guys my thoughts and conclusions on her as a unit. Since Sparkle is going to be released in-game in just less than 2 days from as of when I'm recording this, I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible so that you guys can make the most informed decisions for your account when it comes to pulling. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So before we actually take a look at her kit, I do kind of want to just talk about quickly what her value looks like without regards to her kit. So the first obvious thing is she's the first and only Quantum Harmony character. Mono Quantum is now fully complete in my personal opinion. You could already do Mono Quantum, of course. We have like 5, I think. We have 6 Quantum units, right? And you could already do Mono Quantum. You could do Mono Quantum with 3 Quantum and 1 other unit that has the same type as an enemy's weakness, and you're basically guaranteed to put that Quantum weakness on. But this is really the nail in the coffin, in my opinion, to make Mono Quantum the top of S tier. Now, I don't think necessarily it's going to be the best team comp in the game, but it's probably a top 3. You could argue it's the best now. I don't know. We'll see. So what I mean exactly by Mono Quantum, if you don't know, is Seele or QQ as your main damage dealer, Silverwolf, Sparkle, and then Fu Xuan. Silverwolf's ability to put the right weakness on the enemy, no matter what enemy you're facing, is just something that I don't see being replaced, at least not for a long time. And that is really the key to Mono Quantum, if you're not aware. That's why it's so strong. It's an extremely free-to-play friendly comp, and yeah, I might get into that in another video, but it's very free-to-play friendly because you don't need to build as many variety of units. You can just brute force Mono Quantum anywhere in the game at all, and it works. Anyways, now let's actually take a look at Sparkle's kit. So starting at the top here with her traces, for the first one, Almanac, when using basic attack, additionally regenerates energy. Okay, simple, that's all it is. If you don't know, basic attacks always give 20 energy, so with this, you're gonna obviously get more than that. And we don't know the exact numbers yet, but you can imagine, hypothetically, it's probably 25, 30, somewhere around there. So I'd say this talent is pretty good. More energy is always good, of course, but I think this is probably Sparkle's weakest trace out of all 3 of them, because ideally you want to be using her skill as much as possible, but you are going to be using some basic attacks here and there, so we'll talk about that later. Basically, her skill gives an ally a crit damage boost and advances their action forward, kind of like Bronya's skill. So you're not basic attacking all that often with Sparkle, but this is still a nice bonus to have, and her ultimate is relatively low energy cost, so, you know, take it as you want. That's going to bring us into the next trace here, Artificial Flower. The crit damage effect provided by the skill, which again we're going to get into in a moment, will be extended until the start of the target's next turn. The characters that benefit the most from this are actually those like Jingyuan or Topaz, who have an attack that is outside of their normal actual turn, so these buffs won't run out. Whereas Bronya's buffs, on the other hand, would run out like before Lightning Lord goes, for example. This is most likely going to be Sparkle's most important trace. I think this is going to be super strong and the key to what makes her so good. Then for her final trace here, we have Nocturne, increases all allies' attack. Just flat, straight up. Additionally, increases the attack of Quantum type allies based on the amount of Quantum characters in the team. So if you have 2, if you have 3, whatever, it's going to increase this buff based on that amount. Remember what I said about Mono Quantum? We talked about that earlier. There you go. This is another buff to Mono Quantum. We'll of course just have to wait and see what the multipliers are, what the numbers are, but I think this is going to be a very good trace for those of you who like to run Seele or Silverwolf or QQ, any of those. This is going to be good. Then right here, of course, we have the leveling materials. If you do know for sure that you're going to get Sparkle, then you can go ahead and start pre-farming. Now getting into the actual kit, here is Sparkle's technique. There's actually 2 parts to this. So the first part is the overworld part, where you're essentially hidden from enemies. So using the technique grants all allies misdirect for a certain time. Characters with misdirect will not be detected by enemies, and entering the battle in the misdirect state recovers a certain number of skill points for the team. So just like Seele's talent, the enemies can't see you, you can run right by them. Pretty good for the overworld if you're trying to run around without fighting, enemies, mobs. But the real important part here is that this technique recovers skill points when you enter the battle. Don't know the exact number yet, probably something like 2 or 3. I honestly have no clue. I haven't looked at leaks, I haven't looked at any of that. I'm just guessing based on the rest of her kit. So already this is a very good technique on its own, but when you take into account Sparkle's talent down here, there it is, while Sparkle is on the battlefield, additionally increases the max number of skill points. Whenever an ally consumes 1 skill point, all allies' damage dealt increases. This effect lasts for a certain number of turns and can stack up to a certain number of times. Again, I don't know the exact numbers on this, I don't know the whatever, but these two abilities together combined make some insane synergies in team compositions. This is one of the reasons why QQ is going to be really good. Imbibitor Lune is probably going to be really good with Sparkle because he's skill point hungry. So QQ mains rise up. Imbibitor Lune mains rejoice. Any unit that's skill point hungry is going to love having Sparkle on the team. So this is just huge for them. Her ultimate also recovers skill points, which we will get into in a moment. Let's go back to her basic attack, which just your normal basic attack. Nothing special besides the extra energy from her trace, right? Now moving on to Sparkle's skill. Increases the crit damage of a target ally for a certain number of turns. This also causes the target's actions to be advanced forward. When Sparkle uses this ability on herself, she won't be able to trigger the action advance effect. From face value, this sounds very familiar, right? Just like Bronya's skill, very similar. But I will tell you guys, it is stronger than Bronya's in terms of damage output and buffing capability. The skill is just crazy. It's gonna last until the beginning of the target ally's next turn, I believe, if you include her trace. And one thing I want to point out, this is just silly, but if you look at the preview here, I don't know why they're using Black Swan and Sampo as like the showcase when neither of them are crit damage or crit scaling. You're never going to use Sparkle with a dot team, I don't think. But you know, it is what it is. I do actually feel like this skill is going to be a bit of a power creep to Bronya. In most scenarios, I don't see why you would want to use Bronya over Sparkle if you have her. Hard to say that confidently without knowing the actual numbers, without using her, testing her out. So we'll look into that when the time comes. I love Bronya. I have her E2, but yeah, it's hard to say. We'll just have to see. Now, finally, for Sparkle's ultimate, the hero with 1,000 faces recovers a certain number of skill points for the team and grants allies Cypher. For allies with Cypher, each stack of the damage boost effect provided by Sparkle's talent additionally increases by a certain percentage, lasting for a certain number of turns. And guys, I'll just say it, this ultimate is incredibly strong, even for a Harmony unit, which is typically on the stronger side. Now this description here seems a little complex when you're just reading it at face value like this, but I'll try to explain here. So basically, you get the skill points, then all allies get Cypher, then all allies with Cypher, which is going to be everyone, they get an enhanced damage boost from Sparkle's talent, which gives all allies a damage boost anytime that anyone uses a skill point. And it stacks. Hopefully that makes sense. It's essentially an enhancement to the damage boost provided from her talent on top of the skill point regeneration. I'm sure it'll be more clear to understand once you can see it in the game and use it yourself, but that's all I got. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know how many times they can stack. That's a number we of course don't know yet for officially. It's just a further boost to her talent's damage and the skill points, of course. So as you can see, there's a lot of damage boost coming out with this character. Her talent, her traces, which give flat attack on top of attack buff based on the number of quantum allies. Then of course her skill, then her ultimate, which enhances the buffs, and yeah. So she's just going to be strong, guys. Attack buffs for everyone, skill points for everyone. The action advance forward is also just a raw DPS increase if you use it correctly. I can't wait to see what everyone's able to do with this character. She's going to be fun, I can already tell. Alright, so it's time to move on from Sparkle's kit and actually take a look at her signature light cone now. If you stuck with me through the entirety of this video so far, or maybe you just skipped through the light cone section, either way, perfectly fine. regardless, I just want to say thank you, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you drop this video a like, if it's been helpful for you. Anyways, here we have Sparkle's signature light cone, Earthly Escapade. You can see the level 80 stats here, pretty standard for Harmony light cone, 5-star. So here's what we care about. Increases the wearer's crit damage by 32%. This is good because just like Bronya, Sparkle, her buffs actually scale off of her crit damage, so you do want to build crit damage on her, just like Bronya. And at the start of the battle, the wearer gains Mask, lasting for 3 turns. When the wearer has Mask, the wearer's allies have their crit rate increased by 10% and their crit damage increased by 28%. So 48% crit value right there. For every 1 skill point the wearer recovers, including skill points that exceed the limit, they gain 1 stack of Radiant Flame. When the wearer has 4 stacks of Radiant Flame, so 4 skill points consumed, all the stacks are removed and they gain Mask, lasting for 4 turns, which is these crit buffs up here, the 10% crit rate and 28% crit damage. To be frank, when Sparkle uses her ultimate, this last part here is triggered. That's not a leak, by the way. That's what her ultimate recovers, 4 skill points. This Mask is going to be virtually permanent uptime, this buff, because Sparkle is definitely able to ult within a 3-turn cycle. So as long as you have enough speed on her, it'll be fine. This is basically a permanent uptime. So I know the wording is a little bit weird right here, where it says, while the wearer has Mask, the wearer's allies have their crit rate increased. I'm pretty sure that applies to Sparkle herself. I've seen other creators confused about it as well. I don't think there's like a definitive answer on it yet until we have it in game, but I'd be willing to bet that it applies to Sparkle herself as well as the rest of the team. Anyways, for obvious reasons, this light cone seems like perfect for Sparkle. It's extremely strong on herself. It's almost like it was made for her. Wow, imagine that. But yeah, I'm just gonna say it. This light cone is broken. It's very, very good. Okay, I think you could run this on other supports too. Maybe a Bronya, maybe Yukong, maybe some others. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But this is easily one of the best signature light cones out there, which is crazy for me to say when we just had Ruan Mei's busted light cone not that long ago in 1.6. Harmony is just an insane path. Always has been. That's my opinion. Sticking to that. I still think Harmony, best path in the game. The 2 Harmony limited characters and light cones that have been released have been crazy. Crazy, game changing in fact. But yeah, enough of that. Here's the upgrade materials. And oh yeah, so the 4-star light cones, these are available on the banner. And I would say Planetary Rendezvous, that's another option that you can run on Sparkle. So if you don't get her signature light cone, if you have this is a good option. If you're running Mono Quantum, I want to be clear. If you're running Mono Quantum, this is really good. Otherwise, you know, if you're running Sparkle and Seele, you might as well run Mono Quantum. I guess if you don't have Silver Wolf, then you can't. But you know, if you're not running Mono Quantum, you probably want to use Dance 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 or Sparkle's signature light cone or Bronya's light cone, Bronya's signature light cone, which you can get basically for free. You can buy it in the shop. Everyone should have at least 1 copy of that. But yeah, those are going to be your main options. We'll see if there are any more once Sparkle's released in the game. But for now, that's what I'm going to recommend. But that's going to be about everything, guys. I think I covered everything. In conclusion, I think Sparkle opens up a ton of new team comps, ton of new playstyles that I'm personally super excited for. I know this all sounds cliche, like, oh yeah, excited for a new character. I truly think she's going to be game changing, at least for team comps. If you do pick her up, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with her. If you don't, that's okay too. Let me know what your plans are though. I'd love to know. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Are you picking up Sparkle or light cone, both, whatever? If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear what everyone has to say, what you think. Anyways, that's all I got for today. I'm signing off now. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.